authored by Taressh Bhatia, a certified financial planner, it seeks to bridge this gap by providing the knowledge, frameworks and the attitudinal shift required to enable the common man to be able to make these decisions to benefit him.
Dear President, Mr. Venkat, thank you for having us here today. I'm very grateful to allow us and have this auspicious gathering here today. Is it working? Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate the audience who has come here today, each one of you, and to make it through the evening today. I really appreciate our panelists here today, a very august gathering, and very, very distinguished people and eminent speakers. I'm very grateful for all of you to come here today and grace the occasion. I'll not go deep into a talk. I will, in fact, Mr. Venkat has said a lot of things already which I wanted to say, and he has quite a lot summed up what I wanted to say in the book. So I'm going to be not making a presentation. I will just try and say something what I thought is best, why I've written the book, how was it conceived, what made me think about the book first of all, and what is unique about the book here, and what makes it the only book I believe in India of its kind as of today. I will go back about 25 years when I got married. If I go back another 10 years, that was a time when I was just maybe one of you, like our friend here, Krishna, and my colleague Atul and Amit, 20, 22 years old, just got your graduation done and first job, and I got a bike, and which was 100cc bike, and I used to fly on that through the Delhi roads. So next 4-5 years was full of fun, joy, and there was no worry of what we talk here, money, richness. There was nothing like financial planning, and I was on top of the world enjoying whatever I was earning. There was no liabilities. There was no one to say कि कुछ पैसे जोड़ के रखो. The only thing my dad said was अभी तेरी salary लग गई, अभी insurance ले ले. I don't know why he said for me or for him, which I don't know. But he bought one policy, and then when I got another raise, he said एक और policy ले लो. So I bought 2 policies. When I got married. And marriage is always fun, and it was. And then soon I realized that baby होने वाला है and बच्चे होने वाले हैं, and then liabilities were going to increase, and they started increasing. And whatever investments, I'll call investments in inverted quotes, whatever I had done did not look anywhere to me the right thing which I should have done at that point of time. There was no concept like a financial planner, advisor. There were only insurance advisors and some mutual fund advisors in early 90s who were just coming up. So I started my search that point of time. I remember 21 years back when I wanted to know, I was doing certain things, but I wanted to know what is the right thing. Can somebody just advise me and not sell me anything? Just advise them, पैसे ले लें, अब मेरे को सोचने दें, मेरे को चाहिए क्या? And there was nobody to tell me that. And then somebody, friends said, to business बढ़ा ना. I said, for business I need to have better money, cash flow, which is not happening because here the expenses were increasing, the children were arriving into the family, and here the incomes were not increasing as they should increase when the expenses are increasing, and there was no planning being done here, and that made me think, what should I do? So these friends suggested, कुछ loan ले लो, take some loans, business loan, overdraft loan. I took because they were friends and they were suggesting me the best things. That's what we do when friends suggest. We do what they tell us, ये अच्छी चीज़ है, let's take some loans. Loans I took, and then I took more loans, and then I took more loans, and when I could not pay the EMI, what did I do? Took more loans to pay the EMIs, and that was a debt trap. That was the loan trap. Again, I wanted somebody to advise me, and again there was nobody to advise, but say थोड़ा और लोन ले लो. And that was the point, ladies and gentlemen, I actually went broke for the first time in my life. I did not have money. I did not have money to pay for my children's school fees. The EMI of the car, I remember 1 month, 20,000 rupees. In 1999, I did not have even 20,000 rupees to pay the EMI which was just coming up in 5 days. And I took now a loan from a friend, 5 days ke liye loan de de, 20,000 rupees I will return. He did give me, but I thought, that was the first time I started seriously thinking that I have the money, but it's now getting blocked in policies and certain things which I need the money now, it's not available to me. And then I went further, and then the government regulations started changing, a lot of things happened. And then when I said, what's happening? And then I realized, I'm broke again. And then again. And the third time I said, this is more than enough. Now I started researching. I went to many countries, I traveled so many countries, I read so many books, I attended so many workshops. And that was when I started learning, putting things together. A, how to come out of debt, and why to come out of debt first. And then it was where I should be investing. And then it was how much insurance do I need? Whether I need insurance or not, how much do I need? And if I start investing, when will I need the money? How much will I need it? And how much will it grow? So these were experiments which now led to my further learnings. And that was the time when I said, I think I'm learning some great ideas. And the next 15 odd years, all these ideas which I learned from various workshops, seminars, conferences, books, online learnings, I spent a huge amount of money on these next 5 years. And I said, मेरे को दुनिया के सबसे बेस्ट चीजें जाननी है, जो पैसे के ऊपर है, मनी के ऊपर है, richness के ऊपर है, planning के ऊपर है. And I bought over 300 books. I read all of them, and I was making notes. And I was now implementing not only in my life, but I was implementing in my client's life right now also. And that was the biggest turnaround for me, because now they started giving me the feedback. Taressh, this idea works, this does not work, this will work very good. And that is what I started documenting over 5 years. And those ideas is what I put together. 2015, I happened to meet another workshop, another training, and I went to his workshop and I learned how to write a book, Mr. Nitin Soni. And he gave me the title, The Richness Guide at that point of time, 2015. He made this cover, which has changed a little bit, but he made the cover for The Richness Guide. He says, you now write the book. I said, right, I have started writing. But next 5 years, 2015, 16, 17, 18, I made 3 editions of the book, but I didn't publish it, because I found they are not complete. And that is when I started putting it together now, and the idea of principles came out, the 12 principles, very unique principles. Now I wanted to put together a book which had A to Z, everything about money. आज, कल और कल. कुछ भी पैसे के लिए सोचना, I wanted to put it down inside the book. So I was doing a lot of trainings, workshops still. A lot of my guides, mentors, coaches were saying, नहीं, एक book लेकर आ जो इतनी सी हो, शायद इतनी सी हो, शायद इतनी सी हो, शायद इतनी नहीं हो, इतनी मोटी book कोई नहीं पढ़ेगा. I said, but I want to. Then a lot of coaches said, तू सब कुछ बता देगा, तेरे पास कोई नहीं आएगा. I said, doesn't matter. Because once I want to put what I know from my lifetime, what are my experiments, what are my learnings, and that made me put together the 12 principles. There is a disclaimer for the readers of the book that this is not a complete do-it-yourself. But if you spend a couple of hours reading the book from A to Z, you will learn a lot of things about money. What has worked for you, what will not work for you, what has worked for people, and therefore the Richness Principles. This is 100% plagiarism free. There is not even one line, one word, which I have copied from somewhere. I have given due credits for the people, the authors whom I have quoted. When I was doing some promotion ideas for my book, one of my network friends suggested to make some merchandise. And I said, okay. He says, can you give me some quotes? I said, yeah, a lot of quotes I have taken from people's books and I put into the book. He said, no, I am talking about your quotes. I said, I don't know what is that. He said, no, think, read. And I started reading my own book again and again. I found there are about 27 such quotes which I have written in my book, and those are my quotes now. And we have made merchandise series from that, which will be launching shortly. That was another unique thing which happened, that I have made certain ideas, I have made certain quotes, which are not there in any other places. Finally, the book has got 20 videos? Yes. 40 videos. 42 videos are there. Nitin gave me an idea that put something into the book called as QR code. I will just show you. So throughout the book, there are certain videos which we want you to see.
Yeah.
So if you are reading this chapter, Change Your Thoughts and Get Rich, there is a QR code here. So while you're reading, pick up your mobile and I will just try and show you. Just watch the video here. And there are a lot of download templates then, which I will take you through. 21 download Excel downloadables, which you can do it yourself. You can download the Excel, put in your figures that I am this old, I want so much money, मेरे को 1 crore चाहिए, and I can, so you can learn how to do it yourself. This is also a compilation of last 5 years when I have been quoted in various newspapers, magazines and TV channels where they have asked me for certain bites that ये कैसे होता है, ये कैसे होता है. One of their favorite quotes was कैसे बने करोड़पति, करोड़पति कैसे बने, कौन होता है करोड़पति, करोड़पति बनने से आप खुश हो जाते हैं. And I thought this is a unique idea. करोड़पति बड़ा अच्छा word लगता है. Everybody wants to be a करोड़पति. So I put together a chapter called How to Become a Crorepati, and I explained easy manner. Another thing about the book is it's very easy language. Every line, every word, every chapter, every module is easy to explain, easy to understand, and down to earth for the common man to understand that how to do it yourself. So I'll just try and give you a demo of this. Can you give me the mobile? While reading the book, just capture the QR code like this, and it automatically plays the video on your mobile, whichever mobile handset you got, and the video starts playing. So just to show you the video. So it's a multimedia book in this way that you can watch videos, you can download Excel, you can download templates, there are 2 audio tracks. So the last module is on affirmations, because without affirmations you cannot do anything in your life, I believe. So I put together a lot of affirmations. If you use one affirmation in a day, just read it out to yourself, or the audio clip which I have given, just listen to the audio clipping there, and just spend few minutes every day just listening to the audio clip. That will bring you that feeling, that affirmation which you need perhaps in your life. Whatever I've said, whatever I've put together in the book is just my thoughts. These are not something which is must to do, but these are my thoughts which I've experimented, which I've learned, which I've experienced, which I've put together into one place. So in that way, I feel that as a financial planner, I've been able to put together something which is very unique, a multimedia book, A to Z about money, and leaves you with a very good taste, especially the first 3 modules you must read. The idea is if you begin with each module, begin with module 1, 2 and 3 and go on, and every module is a step to the next module. You finish one module, there are 3-4 chapters in each module, reach out to the next module, then the next module. So if you go 1, 2, 3 each module, you get the step-by-step knowledge, information, and you will get impeccable knowledge about what you should be doing with your money. So that's the whole idea behind the book. Thank you.
And what we'll do now is we'll have a quick, just some quick insights from different panelists on the book. So what the question that I'd like to put to the floor is essentially I'd like to want to take your take essentially on what your key takeaways on the book are. What exactly are your learnings, and what you want to offer to the audience in terms of what they can also take away as benefits by reading what's on this, by reading the book. So if you'd like to start.
First thing I learned from reading this book is that making money is not such a big deal if you start thinking about it and develop a certain amount of discipline and plan your future. You don't really have to be a genius. Even to put it in Taresh's language, a mediocre person can make a hell of a lot of money. So that's when I began to think, whoever contacted me and said, put your money in a mutual fund, put your money here and there, I used to do all that. But after reading this book, maybe I have to change my style of, dealing with money and what exactly to do about wanting to increase your money from your existing resources. So that way, the book was a great help to me.
Okay, I must admit, when I first came to know about the book, I thought yet another self-help book from a self-proclaimed guru. Then I of course read something on the cover which said that this will trigger a revolution, a financial revolution in India. And I wasn't sure whether that would really happen, Taresh. But then I came to the dedication page and it said, I dedicate this book to my eternal source of inspiration and motivation. And that's the time I realized this man has a right. Somebody who can say that about his wife, Meghna. So I started going through the book, and the first 3 modules, as you say, Taresh, are very impressive. And what struck me was that you have used a lot of words like the universe, belief, faith. And so I thought this book has a bit of a spiritual grounding. And although all of us are focusing here on money, but I think there is a substantial portion that deals with your attitudes. You have quoted substantially from the Bhagavad Gita, which is the fountainhead of spiritual wisdom. So I think it's actually a more holistic book than just about the money. It teaches you about your attitudes and how to treat life, the relationship between money, time, and wealth. As far as money is concerned, there is a lot of pragmatic advice that I came across. In fact, I want to invest shortly, and I thought that will be a great help to me too. There is step-by-step guide, and I think anybody who actually chooses to read the entire book, that is 458 pages, and Taresh has even given 2 tests at the end of it. I'm sure he will do well, and as Mr. Venkatran said, it would be easy to make money if you really get to it. Taresh, you didn't appear much the divine type. I thought you were the wine type, but congratulations for writing a book that's really helpful. Thank you. That's our round of applause.
Well, as rightly said, money is right up there with oxygen. I mean, it's one of the most important things we need. But I guess it's not something that we learn in our school, do we? I mean, it's not something which is taught to us. Now, I, being the CEO, can relate to each and every word in the book. But I think the way Taresh has, taken the reader from the first page to the last page, I think that is something that stands out in the book. It's like once you start reading the book, so before you open the book, someone might think that it's a 450 odd page book, but the moment you start reading it, you won't even realize, how you've gone through those 100 and 200 pages. So by the time you're on 300 page, you realize you already gained, so much of knowledge. So I think the way he has written is something that really stands out for me, for the book, number 1. Number 2, I also read a lot of books. Few books will talk about the mindset, few will talk about savings, few will talk about investments. But there are very few books, and this certainly is the one that really stands out because it talks about each and every one of those things that are important to become rich. And I guess in India, that's one of the most important things that we need to do right now, right? People normally ask what is it that we can do to serve the country. I think the best thing that we can do is to ourselves become rich. If we want to make this country a Sone ki Chidiya again, I think that's what we need to do. And I think this book lives up to the title that says the Richness Principles. These are indeed the principles that each and everyone needs to learn to become rich. And it's a fantastic book. And being a publisher, I'm absolutely proud of working with a man like Taressh. Thank you very much.
So first of all, happy birthday, Taressh.
Thank you.
The best gift he has given to himself by launching his book. So the reality is this: we spend a lot of time in planning a party, planning a function, but we don't spend time planning a life, especially financial life. So I have a strong feeling I'm yet to finish the book. This book will give you all the resources to plan your financial life very well. Thank you. Happy birthday, Taressh. So it's a privilege and an honor to be here. And I've known Taressh for the last 2 years now. And I've never seen a more structured man as he is. Very structured. He gets into each and every detail. He says, he attends workshops and conferences, and he's the guy who's taking all the notes all the time. And then, every time I find him, he's a notch up. So even with his book, there are, videos which he said he's given. So, and that comes from his complete experience, what he has, and the gratitude. Most of the, generally, if you really look at people who talk about money, they talk about $1 million. But he's talking about crorepati kaise bane. So, kaun banega crorepati? Main to banunga crorepati.
My father-in-law used to say, you're only as rich as much as you save. Now before that was my grandfather, who said, rich people are usually corrupt. And then there's a whole host of people that influenced me when I was born. My father started with little over 200 rupees as his monthly salary. And I'm proud to say that the designation he just read out for me, I was earning £200,000 when I did my job. So how did my family produce me from a father of 200 rupees a month, little over that, which is £2, to £200,000? And that is a journey of just half my life. So when I met Taressh, it was 6 years ago, and I still remember very clearly, he said, I'm an investment planner and a financial planner, investment management consultant. And I thought that was a great category to have in DNI where we both came from. I had already done my banking and I had thrown my job, and I had moved from London back to India to transform people so that they could go through the same journey that I had gone through. And I thought, what a beautiful profession, the way he worded himself. And one of the things I do remember distinctly, and this was at the Leela Hotel, is that whatever you do, see if you could write it. He said, I'm already writing, which is what he said, 15 years of his experience, which maybe he may have spent the last 5 years structuring it in this book. But that is Taressh for you. He actually wrote, whereas I had experienced, and so had he experienced, and so does every other of those 1.2 billion people in India experience. Book is the very first line which says, it's about, most importantly, yourself, but also enriching your wisdom. So then I go back to what my father-in-law said, that you're only as rich as much as you save. But you don't stop at that. For being saving, you need to earn. For earning, you need to have some grounding and some kind of beliefs in yourself that you can earn, and yes, you can save. But then when you save, you also go ahead and invest. and then get your returns. Now what you'll find in this workbook, which I call it a workbook, is that entire cycle, life cycle of money, which is so beautifully and simply put down by Taressh in this book. And of course, he started his thing by saying, when I was, young, I had a lot of liabilities after my child was born. But before that, he said, my wife. So I was wondering, who's the liability, the child or the wife? Except, thank you, Anand, for reminding me that it was really him endorsing his wife. What I'd like to tell all the readers of this book, and those of you who are from the press, this is a book that we have to propagate to our friends, to our family, to whatever institutions we belong to, and to the public at large, not only in India and abroad. Because very rarely do people understand how tough it is to earn money and to save it, to invest it, and to do it wisely, and get happiness out of the whole process. And that is something that Taressh has managed to put with that spiritual part that Anand was referring to and what you were saying. I thought that was beautifully done. Now, of course, he's not going to stop here. He did talk about commercializing all his sports. There are those videos, and it's not just the harmony over 48 pages that he has, 458 pages, but there's a lot that you need to go through. I would only ask people who watch this and read this book is to actually go through it. Because going through 50 years of my life has not been easy, and reaching to where I am today. And that's something that we have to do in transforming people. So even if you recommend to them to give this book, or just lend it to people, it will transform their lives. Through the words he's written, through the experiences he's given. And you can take one principle at a time. He has 12 principles. Take just one principle and work with it. Take another one and work with that. And you will find a change in your life or the people around you. And that's what really I want all of you to go back from here and not just go back to another book launch or another press conference, but propagate. And it's up to us to help people like Taressh to come up and speak their mind in this book. That's what I'm hoping you all do. So thank you, Taressh, for this opportunity.
And I would like to thank the esteemed panel for sharing their insights that the different learnings that they've taken away from this book. What we'd now like to do is open the floor to the audience for any questions that they might have, anything that they might want to know from your work, from the different panelists there as well, about anything related to their life, to the different experiences they have, and about the book as well.
Investments, is it dependent on the atmosphere in the economy, the state of the country?
It's a very good question, very long reply, but I will try and make it short. That's one of the most prevalent questions people ask me. क्या चल रहा है? क्या लगता है आपको इकोनॉमी कैसी जाएगी? आपको क्या लगता है ये जीडीपी डाउन चली गई और मोदी क्या कर रहे हैं और ये सब हो रहा है, तो इसमें तो कोई माहौल नहीं है. There's no environment for investments. And what do you think, Taressh? So we should pull out money, we should do this, we should do that. So my perspective is very, very clear. You have the money, you have to invest, you have to see your money grow. What the economy is doing, what the GDP is doing, and what stories you're listening from people and their thoughts, which are now being deleted, distorted, and then generalized. Deleted, distorted, and generalized is their opinion of how they feel the market is doing. What they understand from whatever they learned, heard, seen on TV, read in newspapers, magazines, what people have told them. That becomes their opinion. And that's what they come and tell you. Unknowingly, you come to know of those ideas which they have understood about the economy. Having said that, as I said, you have the money, you need to invest. Now is the part where you should invest, how you should invest, when you should invest. So that's where somewhere in the middle of the book I go deep into it, that you have to get investing into how much into equity, how much into debt. So those are techniques which I try to explain in various modules in an easy manner. So it has got to do everything with the economy. but the economy is doing very good. The inflation is coming down or inflation is going up, the GDP is going up or going down. So in these circumstances, what you should be doing is actually a financial planner's role. So like a doctor, if you're feeling extreme pain, he will give you a painkiller. But he will try and go down, where is the root cause? You may have a headache, but it is not the headache. It may be a stomach problem which is aggravating over the years. So I as a financial planner will go deep into the issues and then try and educate you that it is not here. It's your stomach which is having a problem. Take you through a MRI, financial test, and then give you an analysis that this is the root cause, what you think is not the root cause, and these are the techniques which you should basically understand and get invested. So those are the important parts that you A, trust the financial planner, B, get started, and C, enjoy life. The last part I have emphasized in the book at many places, that do not go deep into अभी क्या हो रहा है, अभी मार्केट डाउन चली गई, अभी तो मेरे पैसे डाउन चले गए, अभी मैं क्या करूँगा, क्या करूँगी। उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि मार्केट तो डाउन जाएगी, वो कह रहे हैं कि nothing to do with your money, it's your money which has to grow. You only have to know where to take it up and where to take it down, and the only thing you have to be sure is when do you need the money. And that money should come to you in those parts at that point of time. And that's a financial planner's commitment, that if you say I need money at this point of time, you should get it. And that's the only assurance you should have. Forget the economy, forget everything else. Overall, yes, it's a beautiful economy. What has happened in the last 5 years has not happened in the last 50 years as far as the economy goes. We have gone from, I was reading, from 2 trillion economy to 3 trillion economy in just 5 years. What has taken India from 1947 to 2015? I'm not getting into politics and the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister and the economy and all that. But that's a fact. 2 trillion to 3 trillion economy, 5 years. If you're going to wait for another 5 years, say let me see and wait, you will really miss the bus. So next 10 years is make hay while the sun shines. Thank you.
Taressh, thank you so much. It's really heartening to hear your view on the economy. Me being a junior, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you in front of everybody that I am what I am, because you gave me correct advice. And I started out as a life insurance professional, and today I am a certified financial planner, and because you sent me to the right person, I could clear my papers in one go. And that said, that was a question I really wanted to ask you, that what do you do when you have your clients coming in, hearing things, and it's really just a market sentiment, and because of which when clients come to you, because this is my answer that I gave, is this the right answer, but then hearing the same from you is, thank you so much.
Very good question. As a planner, you are asking me to a planner. Well, I can say confidently 95% of my clients don't come to me asking any questions at all. In fact, they remain contented. Yes, I send a lot of information to my clients at the right point of time through right communications. Whether it's an email, or whether it's a WhatsApp, or whether it's a YouTube video I'm sending, or a regular call to them, or the regular 3-monthly review which I do. And in between all this, they don't have any questions. What I told you 5 minutes back is what I keep telling them, the first meeting, the second meeting. And they understand where they are going to be operating and where does Taressh operate. So trust me, I don't receive any calls during the day, during the month, what's happening with the economy, what's happening with my money, Taressh, what's going to happen, abhi market gir gayi hai, abhi market ut gayi hai. So as I said, 95%, so 1 in 10 does call me once in 3 months. And those are the only time, you'll be surprised, he says, market ut gayi hai, should I take out money? Should we cash out? Abhi 40 से 42,000 Sensex चला गया, is it a good time to encash all my mutual funds, some of them, and put them into safer place? I said, what is safer place? FT is no longer a safer place. Where are you going to be, what are you going to be calling a safer place? So it's how if I step back and say how you position yourself, how you prepare the mindset of your clients and how they receive, how receptive they are, and how they take it forward with what you're trying to explain to them. That matters the main thing. And that is the main thing, that's the one thing. Nothing else matters to them and to me also. But having said that, I am doing 2 to 4 hours research every day. Whether I'm doing newspapers, magazines, or I'm doing reports, or I'm studying various reports which come to me from so many sources. So there is microeconomic indicators, there is macroeconomic indicators, there is what's happening worldwide, oil prices, this, that. So all that comes to me from various sources, and I do read 2 to 4 hours a day. So that gives me, prepares me for anything. So I am ready with the strategy. I am ready with any kind of question which my clients ask, and it is not for the sake of answering to them, but for the sake of telling them, chill out, enjoy life.
Privilege to be present at the book launch of Taresh's The Richness Principle. It's a book written by Taresh over last 5 years, and each and every chapter has been properly structured. He talks right from the beliefs of investing. He takes you to the principles, how you should invest, where you should invest.
Well, I want to congratulate Taressh Bhatia for writing this book. We don't have any book of this kind in India, and it will be very simple language, easy to understand. I would like to see this book translated in other different Indian languages and put out a paperback edition so that people across the country, in this country, can read it and understand. It's very simple language, and Indians are not particularly trained how to use their funds. They don't have financial discipline, and if they read this book, it will help them to how to invest money and how to earn money and make more money.
I read the Richness Principles a couple of times over just this week, and I'm very proud with what Taresh has managed to achieve. I've known him for 6 years, and being in Toastmasters International, where I've been a Toastmaster, where we try to develop communication and leadership skills for people, Taresh is actually developing through this book financial skills, where people's beliefs, their way of thinking about richness is something that he's challenging, and he's made it very practical. He's given books and he's given videos and advice to people where they're starting first off on how they can actually become richer than where they are. And this book is really applicable to anyone who's above the age of maybe 13 all the way till they die, because it's not about whether you are affluent or whether you have less money. It's more about how you conduct yourself, how you earn, how you save, how you invest, and then how do you have a play fund where you can actually enjoy your life.
So when I joined my job, I got my first salary. What my father told me, beta, paisa kamana easy hai, paisa गंवाना उससे भी easy है. बेटा मुश्किल क्या है, पैसा संवारना. पैसा संवारना बहुत मुश्किल है. So and recently, few years back, I met Taresh ji, and today he happens to launch his book, which I got my first copy already from Amazon, and I happened to read it before the book launch. So I feel that I'm very lucky for that. So पैसा संवारना का जो techniques होते हैं, so this book talks about the पैसा संवारने का techniques. Usually क्या होते हैं पापा के थॉट प्रोसेस कि कैसे आप पैसों को इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. इट्स ए थ्रू कमिटीज़, बी थ्रू प्रॉपर्टीज़, सो एंड डी सी इज़ थ्रू योर फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स. बट दिस बुक On the other hand, it also speaks about so many different ways how can you invest money and how can money make you more rich and how you save and plan your life ahead. So congratulations to Taressh ji for launching this book, and I'm happy and lucky to read this book. Thank you so much, Taressh.